Now, I am really behind on things. Less than a week until opening day of baseball. You know, baseball, I'll admit, it's not the best sport in the world. Unless you actually go to a game or unless you're actually playing it. But it's kind of an underrated sport. I mean, being a fantasy baseball player that I am, I kind of have a little bit of interest in the regular season. But baseball doesn't get really interesting. Kind of like hockey. It doesn't get interesting until the playoffs arrive. But I'm going to give out my season predictions, kind of like what I did last year. I believe last year was a complete failure. I'll have to remember who I picked to win last year's World Series. But I'm actually going to put the link in the description box of last year's season predictions in the description box. So let's start with the American League, the AL East. And finishing first in the AL East, the Boston Red Sox. Second place, Toronto Blue Jays. Third place, the New York Yankees. Fourth, Baltimore. And rounding out the AL East, the Tampa Bay Rays. I just feel like the Red Sox have the team to beat in the American League this year. I mean, I know Cleveland had some huge free agent pickups, but the Red Sox, they're looking pretty solid. I mean, Chris Sale, David Price, and their pitching has gotten stronger in the offseason. Toronto, sort of the same deal. I mean, I feel like they're the second strongest team in the American League, and I'm just being bold about that. The Yankees, I feel like they're going to make some progress, but it's not going to be good enough to make the playoffs. Baltimore, I feel like they're going to have a down year, and Tampa Bay is still in the rebuilding process. The AL Central now. Finishing first in the AL Central, the Cleveland Indians. Second, Detroit Tigers. Third place, Kansas City Royals. Fourth place, Chicago White Sox. And rounding out the AL Central, the Minnesota Twins. Now, the Indians are going to be a team on a mission this year. Considering how close they were to winning the World Series, needed just to win 1 out of 3 to be World Series champions. The Detroit Tigers, I feel like it's going to be a tight race between them and the Royals for second in the AL Central. And I feel like that's going to be a fight for a wild card spot all season long, especially when we get to August, late August, early September. That'll be an interesting race to watch, in my opinion. I feel like the Royals come up just short of that wild card position. And the White Sox, I feel like they make some progress. I mean, without Chris Sale, I feel like they're going to get a couple wins together here and there, but I don't think it's going to be good enough to be in position to finish at least third in the AL Central. And the Minnesota Twins, they're kind of still rebuilding a bit. I mean, they're going to be a solid team one day, but it's not going to be in 2017. Now, the AL West, winning the AL West, I'm going to go a little bold here, the Houston Astros. Finishing second, the Texas Rangers. Third place, Los Angeles Angels. Fourth place, Seattle Mariners. And rounding out the AL West is the Oakland Athletics. And I feel like the Astros are going to have a really strong team this year. I mean, they were even a couple outs away 2 years ago from advancing to the American League Divisional Series. It was a possibility they may have even won that. They could have. The Astros are going to be looking to get back to the playoffs. Texas Rangers, I feel like they're going to come up just short. But we'll see if it's good enough to make it to a wild card position. The Angels, they still have a solid. They still have a solid team, solid sluggers, but I don't think it's going to be good enough. The Mariners, I think they're going to have an off year, and the Athletics will kind of stay having an off year. Now my wild card spots will go to Toronto and Detroit. I feel like the Rangers are going to miss out by maybe about 2 to 3 games. And winning that wild card game between Toronto and Detroit, I have the Tigers. I feel like Justin Verlander is going to just really be on his game. The experience of him compared to whoever pitched for Toronto, whether it's Estrada. But I feel like Detroit's going to win that wild card game. Now we're set up for the American League Division Series between Detroit and Cleveland and Houston and Boston. I have Cleveland beating Detroit in 4, and then Boston beating Houston in 5. I feel like that Game 5 is going to be really, really a good game to watch. I feel like it's... Don't be surprised if we see like a Game 5 in extra innings between Houston and Boston if we get that. In the ALCS, Boston versus Cleveland, I'm taking the Red Sox to advance the World Series this year. Cleveland's bid for a World Series redemption will come up just short. I feel like the Red Sox will beat the Indians in 6. Now on to the National League side. Winning the NL East, I have the Washington Nationals. And the first bold prediction of the video, finishing second the NL East, is going to be the Atlanta Braves. Finishing third, the New York Mets. Fourth, Miami Marlins, and rounding out the NL East, the Philadelphia Phillies. Now, why I think the Atlanta Braves make the playoffs this year is because they did what they needed to do in the offseason. They picked up some free agents, some veteran free agents, to help build the youth. And you've got some young talent like Dansby Swanson, who is probably going to be one of the favorites to win Rookie of the Year. And your pitching is probably it's pretty solid between Julio Teheran, Michael Fulton Ewicks, R.A. Dickey. So I feel like the Atlanta Braves are going to have a really strong season. They're going to make the playoffs. Well, spoiler, I have the Braves getting a wild card in that sense. In the NL Central now, winning it, I have the defending champions, Chicago Cubs. Second, St. Louis Cardinals. Third, the Pirates. Fourth, the Brewers. And fifth, the Reds. I'm going to kind of speed this up, but I feel like the Cubs are going to definitely win the NL Central. I mean, many are going to talk about maybe can this Cubs team repeat? Is this Cubs team stronger than it was last year? Especially since you may have lost Chapman, but you gained Wade Davis. In my opinion, Wade Davis was a really solid relief pitcher in Kansas City. And I believe he had a run of, I think he had a run of 2 years without giving up a home run. I think the Cardinals fall just short of getting to the playoffs. So that kind of spoils the NL West. And first, I have the Dodgers winning it, followed by the Giants, Rockies, Diamondbacks, and Padres. So our NL wildcard matchup is going to be the Braves and the Giants. But unfortunately, the magical season for the Braves. And they will be redeeming the broken hearts of the Atlanta football team. Unfortunately, I have the Giants beating the Braves in that wild card game. I mean, can you really go against the Giants in the postseason, especially with pitchers like Madison Bumgarner? It would be Madison Bumgarner pitching that game. So can you really doubt? Can you really bet against Madison Bumgarner in the playoffs? No. And now we're set up for the National League Division Series. Giants versus the Cubs, which can be really interesting. And the Nationals versus the Dodgers. I have got the Nationals beating the Dodgers this time around. And this time around I have the Giants beating the Cubs. Why? Because the Giants would have won this divisional series last year if it weren't for that Cubs rally in the 9th inning. Because Madison Bumgarner would have pitched that Game 5. And it would have been lights out in season 0 for the Cubs. So we're probably talking maybe the Giants would have won last year's World Series on an even year. So now in the NLCS, we have the Giants versus the Nationals. And I like the Nationals to win this in 7. I just feel like Bryce Harper is going to have a great series in this. I just feel like the Nationals, they really want to get to a World Series. Because they're kind of due for one, to be honest with you. And Bryce Harper's probably going to be playing for a big contract next year. And now the stage is set for my predicted World Series matchup. We've got the Red Sox versus the Nationals. And winning the 2017 World Series in 6 games is the Washington Nationals. I just feel like there are parts of this Red Sox team that will not be able to match up with the Nationals. So that is my World Series prediction. Comment your World Series prediction down below. Comment the matchup you think it's going to be. And we'll see who's right at the end of the season. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. Like and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Twitter at JBTalkSports. Interesting stuff coming out for this channel, so I hope you stay tuned. Have a great day.